from weatherwatch.co.nz, Phil Duncan. Phil, it's a thankless job being a weather forecaster, I imagine. You can keep some of the people happy some of the time, but not likely in your job, I imagine.
No, I think weather forecasters are a bit of a punching bag for some people, which is, I said to someone before, complaining that the weather didn't pan out exactly as you thought is a wee bit like being angry at the flight attendant that the plane doesn't fly faster. It's sort of out of my control. I can't make everything happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get a lot of love and a lot of support, but there is a good consistent 10% that just vent to you every day.
Exactly, and I sometimes get angry if they've run out of chicken on my anyway. But we won't get into that. We'll stick with the weather. This morning, spring is spring, and it's being particularly springish at the moment. You honestly don't really know what the weather's going to be doing tomorrow when you go to bed that day. You don't honestly know what the weather will do during the day as you head off to work. I thought in my neck of the woods, it was colder this morning than it has been for some time. Is it just my old age and creaky joints, or was there something to that, Phil?
There was a cold front that moved up the country and it lost all its moisture over the South Island and the lower part of the North Island.
Yep.
So for those in the top of New Zealand, the front passed over with cloud on Tuesday, then a lovely sunny day many places yesterday, but that was when the colder air came in.
Okay.
We're used to a cold front bringing a burst of rain with it, and then the temperature drops. So we were if you think of the front as being big and long, and the bottom part of it's where all the rain is, we're at the very edge of that front, the very end of it, and we just got the slight change in temperatures, and it will change. It'll get back warmer again in the next couple of days as subtropical winds come back in this weekend for northern areas, and another southerly comes back into the south.
Now, some people were thinking that it was colder than even I thought this morning. I understand there's been some news articles doing the round about snow in Auckland.
Yeah, there's a Herald story out today talking about snow in Auckland with a question mark coming up. But when you read the story, the weather forecasters they quote all say this isn't going to happen.
Okay.
So they've taken a tweet from someone who is an expert, Hauraki Gulf Weather. If anyone's on Twitter and follow him, or on X,
yep.
Hauraki Gulf Weather, great person, very much knows his stuff. And he found a weather map that shows on Monday and Tuesday, as this next big cold change comes into New Zealand, it showed on the map a couple of blobs of snow on the Waitakere Ranges, the Bombay Hills, and some of the hills, I've forgotten the name of them, up around south of Kaitaia,
okay.
up in the far north. Now that is
Mangamukus, I think that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Now you might get a little dusting of snow, possibly at the very highest point. I'd be very surprised if there was snow in Auckland next week. The temperatures look too warm, and it's not that kind of blast. In 2011, when it did snow in Auckland, that was a really powerful Antarctic blast where snow that was a metre thick was falling in main centres like Christchurch and Dunedin, and even Wellington had heavy snow down to sea level.
Yeah.
We're not seeing anything like that this time around. This is more of there might be a little tiny dusting on the very tops of the ranges. There won't be anything down in any of the main centres of like Auckland.
And we won't be doing snow angels in Queen Street. That's absolutely so. Not that we were even a few years back when
that
there was
last time. No.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like it's just a clickbait thing. Oh, please look at our weather article. You certainly won't find that at weatherwatch.co.nz. But in terms of what we can expect, yes, it is snowing in some parts of the country. I understand it's to reasonably low levels in the south of the south, below 500 metres at least.
Yeah, it is. In our forecast for places like Alexandra and Cromwell and Queenstown and Gore, we're seeing the snow icon show up. Now, sometimes the snow icon shows up because you get the right amount of, the temperature and the rainfall at the right time.
Yep.
But it might only be for 3 minutes and then it's gone.
Yep.
It's like a shower of rain. Sometimes we put a shower icon up and we wait all day long and we get one little shower at 3 o'clock and that's it. So in some cases, it won't be a big whiteout snow event. But in other areas, this is very cold air, and it's just going to be sinking around the valleys of the South Island around this weekend. Then we get that big wintry change on Tuesday that spreads up to Auckland, but also the rest of New Zealand, not just Auckland. And so that temperature drop around the country will be felt Monday, Tuesday of next week. And that will likely see snow falling around the Central Plateau, the ski fields all across the country. But as far as sort of like being a major event, it's not really. It's more of a late winter gasp. And we've said all along that this spring is likely to be warmer than average, but it has a higher than usual risk of snowstorms and frost events. And that's because we are seeing the Southern Ocean very, very stormy.
Yeah.
So 80% of the time it might be warmer, but then you get these bursts of very cold air.
Yeah. And hey, in terms of between now and our next polar blast, looks like a bit of a damp weekend, Phil.
Yeah, it's a bit of a chop and change, messy forecast. Yesterday it looked a lot wetter on the Saturday. Now it's shifted that to Sunday. I think you're going to find these forecasts moving around a bit. And that's because the high pressure zone that northern New Zealand has today, that's why it's calm in the north of the country for the first time in days. That high moves away tomorrow,
Okay.
and behind it comes in this next change. So it's the weather pattern is messy with a bit of low pressure coming in this weekend. And when it's weak low pressure, like we're going to see this weekend, it can be a little bit tricky to lock in exactly where those rain clouds will bubble up and form and where they'll exactly stop. But there's a fairly high chance of rain or showers for the North Island and a moderate chance around the South Island. And the South Island's also got those snow flurries around to some lower levels.
But hey, this is not, it's probably going to rain at some time over the weekend, but don't cancel your picnic plans just yet. Just keep them a bit flexible. Was that the best advice?
Right. Yeah, keep up to date. Watch my weather video. We'll be doing one today, another one tomorrow. We'll be talking a lot about the weekend because this sort of setup, when you've got these weak low pressure zones, weak is sometimes really frustrating to forecast. Like a storm, that's easy.
Yeah.
But a weak area of low pressure where it's borderline, if you'll get, rain or dry or drizzle, that's what we're trying to deal with at the moment.
And hey, if you get an opportunity earlier in the weekend to get those lawns mowed, maybe take that and don't put that off till later. Although the spring growth hasn't really kicked in yet, you can probably put it off till next weekend. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
I'm literally in that camp right now. I'm just thinking I should have done it this week. Do I feel like doing it today? I'm not really in the mood.
Not really.
I don't know. We're not.
Hey, we'll keep the eye on the forecast. And hey, if anybody's keen to climb to the top of the Hunuas and stick their tongue out waiting for the first snowflake in a while, then good on them. Love to get your feedback on that. 8168 keyword Rhema. And of course, weatherwatch.co.nz for the latest weather information. Phil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.